President Trump says he's going to take Greenland whether they like it or not, according to NBC News. The official explanation: rare earth minerals and Arctic security. But could the decades of UFO activity over Greenland be the real reason? Greenland hosts a space base, America's northernmost military installation, and it sits on one of the largest rare earth and uranium deposits in the world. And according to declassified Soviet Navy records, the Arctic has been one of the most active regions for unexplained aerial and underwater phenomena for over 70 years. So is Trump after minerals, military positioning, or something else entirely? Hey, ufologists, I'm Christina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of Mysteries with a History. Let me bring in my co-host and mentor, Jimmy Church of Fada Black Radio. Jimmy, happy Thursday. How have you been?
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? It's been a minute. Seems like it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. A while. Longer
than a minute. I can't complain. I'm out there working, doing my stuff and getting things done, for the community. But I miss being here with you. Yeah, but back and yeah. Hello, everyone. The Greenland thing is I'm glad we are doing this today. The Greenland thing is, I think, is a mystery to all of us. It's like, why? It's just there.
Right.
Why? It's not going anywhere. Pretty nice people live on the island, right? It's just like, what is going on here? So we're all scratching our heads, aren't we?
We are. And you know what I learned just before the show? Three other presidents have attempted to purchase Greenland. All of them have failed since the 1800s. The first one
was
I was surprised as well. So the first one was Andrew Johnson in 1987 when they were purchasing Alaska from Russia. They were like, hey, let's buy Greenland as well. And it didn't work out. The offers didn't really go through. And then William Howard Taft in the early 1900s attempted to do a land exchange, but it was a pretty complex agreement, so that didn't go through. And then the super famous Harry Truman tried to buy Greenland for today's money as $1.5 billion. And Denmark was like, no, we don't want to sell it to you. And now Trump is trying to do it. So I think a lot of people just assume that Trump was with the first one, but turns out three other presidents tried and failed.
Interesting. I mean, it's not like they have nice beaches. No, you know what I mean? What's the appeal? Here's let me okay, hold that up for a second. Let's look at a couple of things when we talk about Greenland, just so everybody's on the same page. All right. That's what we do here, Christina. We educate, right? So let's do some educating.
And we get educated as well when we do these shows.
Educated. Greenland is the world's largest island at 836,000 square miles. It's 3 times the size of Texas. That's big. It's larger than the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Australia, Switzerland, and Belgium combined.
Nice.
Right. That's crazy. And so when you look at it like that, it seems pretty cheap. Those numbers that you've been throwing out there, right? That's a pretty good buy. That's a pretty good buy. And before we get into the UFO side of it, I want to talk about. Hold on for a second. I don't know if you know this, so let's get the education going. The United States built a secret underground nuclear-powered base there called Camp Century. All right. It was operational from 1960 until 1967 as part of Project Iceworm. Okay. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built it by digging trenches into the ice sheet, covering them with arches. It was pretty incredible, actually. and it had everything: cafeteria, housing, sleeping quarters, living quarters, recreation stuff, all of that. And it was powered by a nuclear reactor, a portable nuclear reactor, which operated for a few years, but it was eventually shut down because it leaked radiation. Yeah, right. Dun, dun, dun.
What?
Now, there is a documentary, and it's an amazing documentary. It's called Camp Century: the hidden city beneath the ice. I've watched this documentary a few times. It's fascinating to see this, because much of what they did there was documented on film. So historically, you can watch the documentary and see it on film. It's not a modern recreation or anything like that. It's a great documentary. But here's the thing with it. All right, it's a fascinating documentary. Everybody go watch it. They built it below the ice.
Dun,
Okay.
dun,
Now,
dun.
you build an army base, right, in the Arctic, you're building it on the ice, right?
Right.
You know, you've got the whole it's a ginormous space. Build it on the ice. Nobody's going to bother you. Nobody's driving by to check out what you're doing.
That's where I want to
Uh,
be.
yeah, right, exactly.
Unbothered.
Except they built it under the ice. And so, why did they choose to do it like that? And they did it in secret. Now it's there to investigate a little bit, but it's been abandoned since 1967. The United States just walked away, but they built it under the ice, secret city under the ice, nuclear powered, in Greenland. Right? It's just fascinating. Why Greenland? It's just one thing after another. And the questions that we are asking today, they've been asked many times in the past. It's a fascinating situation we find ourselves in.
And we need to keep in mind that about 75% of Greenland is covered by permanent ice sheets, and it only has a population of a little under 60,000 people. And on top of that, only a tiny portion of Greenland, only like a few towns and cities are actually populated on the coast near the south. The rest of Greenland is pretty much untouched. So I find it really strange. Well, I guess in this case, seems like a crazy amount of excess effort to create a base under the ice and only run it for a little under
Seven
over
years. Yeah,
7 years, like
7 years.
which goes by like that. It's very quick. So there, there's a lot of red flags going through my mind right now, and there's very little information on that base from my understanding. And then hearing about the leak, the nuclear leak, that's also
It's
pretty
still
freaky and very
leaking. You
dangerous.
you can't visit there.
What?
It's
What?
yeah, 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 yeah. It's radiated. But you raise the ultimate point. Greenland is a great place to do stuff and do whatever you want, and nobody knows. Now that includes us. All of the population lives on the south and southwest portion of Greenland. The rest of it's just ice. That's it's just an ice sheet. There's nobody out there. There's nobody up there. You have Thule Air Base. We'll be talking about that in just a second for sure. But if you want to get away with something, right, you would do it in Greenland, and that includes ET.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
We talk about this a lot. If you're ET and you're here and you want to hang out, you're not going to necessarily hang out where the people are. You're
No,
going to
why
hang
would
out where the
you?
people ain't. And Greenland is perfect for that, isn't it? The sightings historically, Christina, in Greenland, they go back a long way.
They
I I'm going to bring up a couple of things really quick. I know that you've got some stuff that you want to do, but and we'll get to that. I'll just make this really quick. The the sightings there, the official military side of this is old.
mm,
1942. 1942, in the middle of World War II, a B-17 bomber was being flown to England from Greenland. and they encountered, and this is according to their own reports filed with the Army, the United States Army, and I'm quoting from the report, they encountered, quote, incandescent flying objects near Thule Air Base.
Mm.
That's the official site. Incandescent. So incandescent, that's a light bulb. They were glowing from the inside. Very interesting. Now, there's another case that happened in 1953, and it's called the United States Air Force F-94 incident. The title of the incident comes from the Air Force and their own official documents. You can go and chase these down online. It's very extensive. But in a nutshell, the U.S. Air Force recorded through their own official reports involving glowing objects near Thule Air Force Base, Thule Air Base. Now, these are two incidents that are 11 years apart. Same exact description. They saw the objects in the sky around Thule Air Force Base, where that B 17 bomber was being flown in 1942 from Greenland to England, and the United States Air Force at Thule Air Base, again in 1953, encountered their own incandescent objects in the sky. And F-94 is an aircraft, and that was the aircraft that was not only part of the incident, but they flew other F-94s up to intercept them. Very strange. And that was 8 years after World War II ended, right? So we can't put this on Foo Fighters. We can't put this on Germany. We can't do this on anything. It's in Greenland, folks, in the middle of nowhere. Very interesting. These sightings and what is going on in Greenland, I'll say it again. If you're ET, that's a pretty good place to hide out.
Oh, most definitely. And then on top of that, there has been a very strong connection between rare earth minerals, uranium, and things like granite and UFO sightings. There seems to be these UFOs, these entities seem to be attracted to these types of earth minerals. And Greenland, again, is just one of those perfect places because it has one of the biggest abundance in several different earth minerals and uranium. Before we continue, I want to say a big thank you to Gary for the super chat, Jaleel, Moon at Noon, uh, Angelica, yes, and Peace. Thank you so much for gifting a membership as well. I really appreciate you guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe for daily UFO news updates. So, there are a handful of other UFO sightings, and it's really important to stress here that while the country is pretty large, it's a very small population. So, right now, we're only covering a handful of UFO sightings that have been reported on, but we can only imagine with how much of it, how much of the territory is uninhabited, how many other UFO sightings might be taking place. It's almost like using the term if you hear a tree fall and there's no one that can hear it, does it make a sound? I feel like we can apply that same line here in
100%.
Greenland.
100%. How much stuff is going on in Greenland that doesn't get reported or seen by humans? Well, it's happening right now as you and I speak. Right? That's just the way that it is. It's too big of a country and not enough people there. There are things happening that no human will ever see. It's pretty fascinating. Let's go to I want to mention really quick. I don't know because I want to get to Martin, and I know you've got his video, and it's pretty incredible. But they have, you and I have talked about this before, but I just want to mention it really quick. They have the UFO hut,
Yes.
right? Yeah, the UFO hut. Now it's near Sissy Mute.
I'm
Sissy
glad you
Mute.
said it and not me because I
Yes,
was like struggling.
Sissy Mute. Well, I shop at IKEA. I can say these things. Um, and
There you go.
and and it overlooks. Are you ready? the Kangerluarsuk Fjord. I shop.
Nice.
I shop at. I think I bought that furniture last week at IKEA. I bought the Kangerluarsuk dresser. You know, when you go to IKEA, they got those labels, right? And the name of what you're buying.
Oh, yes.
You can't pronounce that stuff. No, you can't pronounce it. But anyway,
So instead, you just buy the
yeah.
meatballs and hope for the best.
Oh, the meatballs are the best.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a place for hikers and UFO enthusiasts and so forth. It's a nice little hut, impossible to get to, but you can go up. You got a clear view of the sky and the fjord in front of you, and it's one of the coolest things in Greenland and famous, the UFO hut. So tell us about Martin Kleist. His video is absolutely incredible, isn't it? Caused quite a stir when he hit the community with it.
It did. So he actually released this information about 7 months ago on News Nation with Ross Coulthart. And Ross was like, this is probably one of the best UFO videos that's ever come out. Now, is it amazing? Bring your expectations pretty low, but it is a big deal that even someone was able to capture an image, a video coming from Greenland. Again, because of the population is so slim, under 60,000 people on a huge piece of land. So I'm going to share my screen here. There's no audio. So you can just see it while we continue discussing it. But again, this was brought up about 7 months ago. Hold on. Let me do this. All right. Here is that video. And what we're looking at here is this orb. Oh, sorry, my cursor's in the way. This orb-shaped object, hovering over this nice mountain terrain. And it's really short, actually. And it looks like it looks perfectly round, actually, to me. But as Ross had mentioned, again, about 7 months ago, he said that it's probably one of the most extraordinary videos because it really does look solid here. In many cases, when people record their UFO sightings, it seems to be much more fuzzy. The shape isn't always as crisp, but in this case, we are seeing a nicely shaped circle, almost looks like a beach ball shape. And um I'm trying to pull up my notes here. But as you can tell, it's out of focus. And the thing is that when things are out of focus, let me play that video again. There we go. When things are out of focus, they do look pretty spherical. So we don't know the actual shape of this object. It could have been a cube shape. It could have been probably not triangular shape, but hey, maybe. The thing is that we have limited information on this, and as Martin had stated, it was captured using an infrared camera near southern Greenland, and it shows a glowing object rising from behind a mountain before abruptly vanishing. And Martin says the object was visible to the naked eye during the entire encounter. But what makes this case really compelling, actually, is the pattern, because Martin documented repeated sightings in the exact same location with witnesses including pilots and air traffic controllers. And some of the lights were described as cone shaped and multicolored when observed through binoculars. How many times, Jimmy, have we heard that?
Every
Every time.
right, right. I have seen this exact, pretty close. This type of object probably hundreds of times. And when you see things like this, and I'm glad about the naked eye mentioned too as well, even though this was shot in infrared. When you have sightings like this, Christina, you immediately, this is your brain working. Your brain is trying to understand what it's seeing. So it's going to make those comparisons very quickly to other things that you have experienced in the past: helicopters, airplanes, rockets, whatever, kites. And that's just what happened. And your brain is working. And so you're saying to yourself very quickly, well, it's not a plane, not a helicopter, not a rocket. It's not doing this. It's not doing that. Well, what is it? That doesn't mean that we have the answers with it, right? But it's happening all the time. And when your brain just doesn't make those connections to known objects that you have seen as you've grown up, then what is it? That's the other thing. And it goes into that other bin, doesn't it? It's very fascinating. I've seen this so much, and I can go outside at night, just like all of us can. You look up in the sky, you see a plane flying overhead. You don't question, you don't second guess, you just instantly know in your brain process it. It's a plane. That's a helicopter. That's a planet. That's the moon. And when something like this happens, you're confused. And I back up. And that's when I go, there's something we need to look into here. It's simply not the imagination, is it?
No, it's not. And we also need to consider the cultural perspective, which I'm going to get into in just a moment. But I want to say, Gray, thank you so much again for that super chat. And Dubsonian Power, it's so great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. We had him on, Jimmy and I had him on the show just a few weeks ago, really discussing a lot about Three Eye Atlas. He does have his own telescopes. He's able to see that object for himself. Check out his channel if you haven't already. Dubsonian, is so good to see you. So when we're looking at the cultural perspective of Greenland, Martin said that he spoke with a local shaman who described such lights as familiar and accepted it as a part of the landscape, not something unusual or alarming, but simply a part of nature. And that same perspective is similar with multiple indigenous cultures and tribes around the world. If you speak to Native Americans in the United States, they have a very similar view. Those in Australia, the Aborigines, right? And other cultures, they seem to have this mentality that it's only natural to coexist with these UFOs, with these entities that simply do not look human, with these orbs that are being seen consistently over native land, historical land, or just their land, right? And then if we try to compress this into a modern mentality, this Western mindset, it's like, oh no, 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 no. We don't know what it is. Therefore, it must only be a weather balloon. It must only be an airplane. And if it doesn't fit those ideas, those little categories, then we're never going to touch it. But for these guys, for these indigenous people, they're like, no, we've been seeing this for thousands of years. Our ancestors have been speaking about this since the beginning. It's nothing to be afraid of. And I'm not really sure how we lost that perspective over the centuries, where we became so natural with it, where we really understood it, to now we're so confused about it. Do you have an explanation for that, Jimmy?
We've always wanted to know, and we were always okay with it. Yeah, I think that different governments and different state actors, and certainly the media has played into this too as well, to build into and up to something to be afraid of, and that's part of population control, right? Bring in the fear factor. But before that, going back thousands of years, meeting new cultures from different lands or on the other side of the hill, another town that you've never met or met, you made friends and you learn and you met. There was never an issue with that. And so if ET thousands of years ago, right, came to Earth and my town, my village, your village encountered them, we wouldn't think they were from another planet. They were just from another place on Earth, right? It's just a new culture that you're meeting. And we were okay with that. That's what we did because everything was new. Today, they've built it into something else and are using fear for that control. Greenland, now that's when you have to back up. And I'm being very serious here for a second. It's very big, sparsely populated, and that's the perfect place to go and have a hideout, a secret anything. That goes for ET and it goes for the United States. Now, here's the thing. Thule Air Base, that is in Greenland. Most don't know this. I will tell you now. It is home to for the United States 21st Space Wing. Okay? All
What's
right.
this?
Let's take it a step further.
All right.
The 21st Space Wing provides space surveillance. Dun, dun, dun. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Space control. Or for the United States Space Force.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, man. You
That's
take all of that in its totality, right? So, and it's really funny. I'm not a political guy. I don't do politics. But the conspiracy of politics is a lot of fun at times. We certainly don't do that on this show. So I'm not going to take the orange bait or jump into any of that and get involved. I won't do that. But
and there's no need to.
there's no need to. So the communication that has been put out to the public about defending against China, defending against Russia, it's an important defense installation, it's this, it's that, it's the Arctic, putting all of those labels on it when really, honestly, we are in control. We have Greenland there, we have Canada, we have us on the other side of Greenland. What's there? England. What's on the other side of that? Right? Europe. Right? We've got it. We've got a foothold in all of that. So then what is it? Is it internal, pointing towards the heavens and the universe and space? Well, let's take a look at that. It's the 21st Space Wing, which is there looking at one thing: space. And it's crazy. And so you take that one step further. United States Space Force, we think about Cape Canaveral, we think about Vandenberg Air Force Base, the Space Force. Okay, all right. But that's here in the United States. Dual Air Base in Greenland is there for the United States Space Force. There you go. So is that reason enough? Maybe they know something that we don't. Maybe there's an alien base under the ice there. Don't know. Right? But it's a great place to hide. And that's Thul's job. Right? So think about that. There's a lot of stuff going on with Greenland, and it could be very much ET related.
I'm so happy you brought that up because, yes, I think that whatever we hear coming from any government, there's so much more happening behind the scenes. And with its rich history of UFO sightings, again, these also rich minerals, the uranium, I don't think it's just about security. It's not just about protecting the US from Russia and China if there were to be some kind of submarine type battle or war. There's much more to it. And there have been hints and ideas that the during World War II, the Nazis were investigating Greenland, looking for strange artifacts. There have been some ideas that that's where certain meetings take place with ET and humans. There's no information to back that up, but I think that those types of rumors have been circulating for quite a few decades, actually. At the very least, it's worth mentioning. And right now, I'm looking up how many countries have military bases in Greenland. I'm going to look it up right now because I want to know. But it seems that so currently the US has a base, the space base that we've been discussing, and then several European NATO allies, including Denmark, France, Germany, Sweden, Norway, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland, all have some forces or training arenas in Greenland. But how many of those countries are placing offers to want to purchase Greenland? The thing is that the as I had mentioned at the very beginning, several US presidents since the 1800s have attempted to buy that territory and all have failed. How many other countries have attempted the same thing? Do they have the funds for it? Do they have the resources for it? Right now, the US argument, their debate is not only do they want to buy the territory, but they are the ones that have the technology in order to get all those minerals from it compared to maybe Russia or China. They are mentioning that they are offering the most to Greenland, that they want Greenland to become independent or at the very least a territory of the US, like the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico, and then have them grow their economy, like the same narrative that they mentioned about Venezuela, and then allowing them to make money off of the resources that are there since they don't have currently the technology to really pull all the resources that they can pull. They aren't able to do that right now. But it seems that there's a lot more happening behind the scenes. I don't think it's just about that. Like when it comes to any kind of agreement or any kind of contract that you might sign, what do you think there's an alien base in Greenland, Jimmy?
Yeah, if I was gonna build, if I was gonna hide Greenland, yeah, absolutely. Do I have proof of any of this? No. The conversations about ETs and USOs in the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean coming and going. And then you have something like, Greenland, which is right there. And of course, Antarctica. Both offer the same things. There's nobody there. There's nobody there to watch you. How many people is 50,000 people in a country that's 800,000 square miles, right? That's ginormous. An island that big. It's half the size of the United States with 50,000 people. The town that I live in right here is 100,000 people. It's 100,000 and it's tiny. I feel like I know everybody here in this tiny little thing that I live in. Cut that in half, occupying something as large as Greenland. Nobody lives in Greenland. Nobody. So you can do whatever
Technically
you
speaking,
want.
that's right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just so back to the point though. When we have different things that have been approached, and the things that we talk about Greenland, or we refer to Greenland about, you can certainly apply the same ideas and concepts to Antarctica. Greenland's the very same thing. It's just right here and it's accessible. But the advantage of having Thule Air Base there, that's one thing. But it's what it would be different for me personally to look at Thule and look at Greenland if Thule was an Air Force base with fighter wings on it, and that's what it had, and that's what it was used for, and supplies and everything else, right? A logistics center for the Air Force. It's not that. Thule is home to the 21st Space Wing, and they are monitoring space objects leaving and coming to planet Earth, tracking them, space surveillance and space control for the United States Space Force. That right there says so much to me. There's reasons for that. Why can't we do any of that from here? Why can't we do that from England? We have Iceland right next door. We have all of the other Black Sea and Sweden and Finland and Norway are all sitting right there. But we do these kinds of things from Greenland. Why? It's remote. Nobody can monitor you. Nobody can watch and see what you're doing. Anybody coming and going from Greenland, we know who they are. If you're in Greenland, right? If you and I showed up, we flew to Greenland and we got off the plane, there's 50,000 people there. Now there's 50,002 and they know it. Do you follow what I'm saying? There isn't anything that goes on in Greenland that isn't known. It's very fascinating. It's the whole situation. In the end, we will probably never know why there is so much enthusiasm to acquire Greenland. You would have to ask why. Okay, one last thing, and I want your opinion on this before we wrap this up. All of these things that have been pointed out, defense, rare earth minerals, rare earth this, oil, whatever it could be at Greenland. Why does any of that matter, Christina? They haven't put up any roadblocks or barriers to any of that stuff, to any corporations or anybody else that wants to do anything there. No, they haven't done anything to prevent that from happening, right? So why is that the issue? The issue is something else, and the issue is covert.
Always. That always seems to be the case. It's always covert. It's always compartmentalized. And the thing is that, as you had stated, we're never going to get full transparency as to why the United States wants to purchase Greenland. Again, the ideas are military tactics, rare earth minerals, but there has to be much more to that to really put so much effort into wanting to purchase that territory. And the fact that presidents since the 1800s have attempted to purchase it is a red flag. It is.
Canada should go and grab it from us. Denmark would
The
go, yeah,
question is,
okay,
why haven't they?
yeah, Canada, cool. Well, we've already, right? We wanted to make Canada the 51st state. It's just it's the whole thing is strange, right? It's very interesting, and I always appreciate your insight. Anything else before we scoot and wrap this up?
I know. I think this is a great place to wrap up. Jimmy, thank you so much for being on the show today. Who do you have on Fade to Black tonight?
I have Leanne Harrison on tonight. She's a conscious consultant. I love talking about consciousness. I do. I do. The thing that makes you smile, Christina, the thing that makes you enjoy food, the thing that makes you question everything and look at the universe, that thing is called consciousness. And we know nothing about it. Nothing. We know more about Greenland than we do consciousness.
We know more about space than we know about our own oceans. That
I
in
know,
itself
right?
is also very strange. But before we head out, Jimmy, just one more question. Jaleel wants to ask, how did you get interested in researching UFOs? What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in the sky or in the water or anywhere? Right before you head out. Make it your ending statement.
I got interested in it very young age of 8 or 9, fourth grade. Two things happened. One, my friend that sat next to me in fourth grade class, his name was John DeBrava. Him and I both got into UFOs together at that age. And then my mom, Eric Von Daniken, right? Chariots of the Gods. All of that happened at the same time. My mom took me to the movies and to see the film, and she also had the book. So that and being a kid in the middle of the space race back then in 1970, 71, it was a pretty fun time to be a kid with all of that. So that's what got me started. The strangest thing I've seen in the sky, Christine has her amazing sighting. I've seen so many things. I would say probably the tippity top would be the beer can UFO that we saw up in Washington, and it, which I think about every day. It's weird. I do. It pops in my head every day. It just does. It was absolutely nuts. So how about you? What got you in?
I've always been interested in the topic. I mean, just like yourself, you started in your younger years, and yeah, I've had some weird sightings. Mine have been more paranormal than UFO related, but I love the UFO topic. There's so much to it. It's such a strange thing that I think we're so lucky to be able to cover this topic on a daily basis, to speak with people that are knowledgeable in this, and to also research so many historical cases and modern cases. It's such a privilege, really.
Yeah, it
We're
is.
both very passionate about it, so
Yeah,
I like doing
yeah,
it.
yeah. I'll never stop. I'll never
Yeah.
stop. First off, it's fun. All right,
Yes.
it's fun. It is absolutely fun. The people are wonderful. The people are beautiful, and going out and trying to figure this stuff out. Honestly, it's fun. I don't know. I can't speak for bird watchers. I can't speak for people that collect butterflies or ceramic figurines or whatever you're into. I don't know. I don't know those things. But they're fun to those people. For me, what is fun? ET, contact, disclosure, UFOs. It's absolutely fun. That's it. Now, getting to the end of it, you know, are we going to? Am I ever going to see? We're getting close. You came in at the right time. See, let's say disclosure happens, right? 2026. Boom, right? The White House, Oval Office, live TV, here we go, right? You, Christina, at your age, you get to do the real fun stuff for the next 50, 60 years, right? Think about that. You came in right at the right time. So I'll see everybody tonight on Fade to Black. Thank you, Christina. Another great show. Really enjoy everything that we have done over these years. Absolutely fantastic. So enjoy the rest of your day. Everybody else, I'll see you tonight on Fade to Black. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button right down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. A big thank you to everyone catching this live, all the super chats, super stickers, YouTube members, Patreon supporters, and of course, all of my amazing moderators. You know I cannot do this show without you. That is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for a UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.